Flosstube. I'm Nancy Joy Trower. I'm the Stitcher with a laughing face, and this is Flosstube number 49. Thanks so much for stopping by to see what I've been up to for the past 2 weeks. I hope the beginning of January has been kind to you, weather-wise, and everything else, that you've gotten some Stitchy time in, maybe some reading, that you're warm and safe. Today is Monday the 19th, and so we're off of school for Martin Luther King Jr. Day, but it is cold and snowy. We had a snow day last Thursday. We got a fair amount of, but it was also pretty cold. So, but right now we're in the midst, because I'm outside of Buffalo, like between Buffalo and Niagara Falls. So we are in the middle of what they're saying is a multiple day event. We got up this morning, there was 4 inches of snow. My husband went and cleared it, and it was all the light, fluffy lake effect. So I often wonder, I know there's a thing about like Eskimos have like 50 different names for snow because there's all the different kinds. So like, what would they call lake effect? Like, you can't make a snowman with it. But it's the perfect skiing like powder. If you're a skier, like this is what you would want to ski in, because it just is so light and flaky. But it won't pack. So easy to clear, which is good. So he cleared snow this morning, and by 11 or so, he came back, because we have a couple of rental properties. He had to go clear at one of those, and there was another 2 inches in the driveway. And then the sun came out. It was crazy. He was like driving down our street. It was a whiteout, and then the sun came out. But we are supposed to get a couple more. Well, some areas around here are going, like, they're talking feet. But it's also supposed to be frigid. Tomorrow at 7 o'clock, the temperature is 9 with a wind chill of -10. So I'm crossing my fingers that I get a phone call from my principal sometime this evening that we don't have school tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. My school is even further north than where I am. Like, you can literally see Canada across the river from one of my classroom windows. It's like, oh, look, Canada. My phone thinks I'm in it half the time. It's like, no, I can see it. Not in it. But we'll see. They actually got more snow than we did last week, which is kind of odd. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I would love another snow day. Because yesterday I just kind of scrolled. Maybe I was in, I don't know, morning stage. Because if you watched, you know I'm a huge football fan. I live outside of Buffalo. So we are Buffalo Bills through and through. We moved here. We were still Giants fans because I grew up being a Giants fan. My dad was from the New York area, and I watched the Giants with him. But that was in the era of like Phil Simms and Lawrence Taylor and Harry Carson and all those great guys. Bill Parcells was our coach, one of the greatest coaches ever. So we were still Giants fans when we moved here, and that was the Eli era. And Tom Coughlin, also a spectacular coach. And then when the Giants stopped doing it, they used to show the games here because the Bills weren't that good. So they showed the Giants games. But then the Bills have improved greatly in the past several years, and so we are staunch Buffalo Bills fans. How can you not be if you lived here? The Bills Mafia are some of the greatest people. Like, you go into the grocery store on game day and everybody is wearing Bill stuff. Everybody. There's Bill's cookie trays, and it's amazing. And people wear their Bill stuff all year long. Like, when we went to Disney, I don't know how many people. We saw a ton of people wearing Bill stuff in Disney in August. So it's a great place. Except for this week. We're all so sad. So we lost in the divisional round to the Broncos, who are now have no chance of winning. And I know, I can't wait to see what Jordan the Tattoo Stitcher has to say about all this, because she's a big Bills fan too. So we lost in overtime. There were I get it. Josh fumbled the ball, which is not like him, a couple of times. There was one strip sack that he just did not see coming. That was really not his fault. Couple other fumbles happened, but then in the overtime, there was a catch that wasn't called a catch. It was called an interception, even though it was called a catch for another player in the same situation, but he's on a different team. It was just frustrating. It was very frustrating. And then the big frustration was that they didn't stop to review that play. They just kept right on going. And McDermott he called a timeout because he wanted them to review it. And you can't call I don't think you can do a challenge in OT. So he called the timeout to try to get them at least just like slow down and look at it again. And they didn't, and we lost in OT. It was horrible. Poor Josh puts all of it on himself always. He was in tears at the podium afterwards, and your heart just broke for him because you know that man has the biggest heart, and he puts it all on himself. And he said he let his teammates down, and then the other teammates are crying because they felt like they let him down. It was just, and then today they fired Sean McDermott. Not happy. Not happy. Nope. Should have fired Brandon Bean. I love McDermott. I think he got ripped off for Coach of the Year because how many other coaches do you know have had their player die on the field and were able to still like have enough control over yourself to say that we're just not, make the right decisions in what we're doing for the game and then lead the rest, like be the leader for the rest of your team who are all reeling from it. He should have won that year. Absolutely. And who won? Dable. And what is Dable doing now? I don't know, golfing because he got fired first. And has not been picked up by anybody else yet. I don't know. I just think it's a huge mistake. Huge mistake. I love Sean McDermott. I think the culture that he created for our players. You hear other players say it all the time. They come to Buffalo and they're like, this is unlike any place I've ever been. The locker room, the fans, the atmosphere. So family. Like they're so family. And yeah. All right, so I will put in the thing, like, jump ahead of football rant. I'll put the timestamp in. So, yeah, so that's what my weekend's been. Like, we just went to Bob Evans for lunch because Brooke and Vince, we have them every other week. They came back today is our week, but they both start college, weather permitting, in the next 2 days. So Phil was like, let's go to Bob Evans, which is our place. That's where Phil and I had our first date. And we had a waiter that we've had before, and I know he's a Bills fan, and I was like, and I'll have like the farmer's breakfast with a side of I'm really sorry they fired McDermott. And he was just like, same thing. So quite a weekend, but I want to hear what Jordan has to say too. So, all right, enough of the Bills. Sorry. It's how emotional we are here. Wear our football hearts on our sleeves. So, all right. So my first 2 weeks into January have been great. Back to school has been good. Although the first day back, I was like, holy cow, the book fair is in 35 days. And now the book fair is in 21 days. Like, ugh. But it's coming together, having some great ideas about what we're doing. I don't have it all. Like by this time, I usually have like a map drawn of like where I'm putting everything in the hallway. Probably do that this week. I asked the maintenance guys as they were putting away Christmas trees from around the building, because our building is not just our school, but it's also the mother house for the sisters. And so they have areas like in the sisters' dining room, there's a nice tree and they decorate it. I was like, don't put it away. Put it on the second floor because we're doing a forest theme. And I was like, I want to have a forest. So it kind of looks like one right now at the end of the hallway. There's 5 trees down there. And I'm like, how can I set it up so it looks like you're walking into the forest when you come up the stairs? Or I don't know, I'm trying to think about how I want to do that. And I've got all the classes on board because each class is decorating a different door with a different creature. I've got a contest for the kids. They're going to make dioramas. And my light is going to be crazy as it, it's a snowy day out. So right now it's super bright. And, it'll be snowing in 5 minutes and it'll be like a cave. So that's all coming together. Tomorrow starts our winter reading challenge. They're kind of they're overlapping this year, which is great because the book fair is about halfway through. I'm like, oh, you can restock for all of your reading. So the winter reading challenge is a way to bribe them to read. We keep track of minutes is one half of the contest. And then the other half is I have bingo boards for them with like fun ways to read or trying to get them to read different genres or reading nonfiction. So it's all kind of foresty themed this year on the bingo board. And I have tons of prizes to give out. You fill a bingo board, you get a rubber ducky. And I just ordered a bunch of new ones. They're like Yeti rubber duckies and very cute stuff. And I saw something on Pinterest, I think it was, this week. And I was like, ooh, that's a great idea. Some library did like Kid Librarian of the Week, and they had a display about the child with like their favorite book and things that like their recommendations about best ways to read and stuff like that. And I think they get to help out in the library and like make displays and things. And I was like, oh, that would be really cool for any of the kids who read more than I do. And last year I had 5 kids who beat me. And I had 5 teachers who beat me last year, which was amazing. Plus, right now, I've got to get to Michael's, Kohl's, and TJ Maxx apparently all have like huge reading collections. So I need to get there before that stuff is gone, because then I can buy some cool prizes for the top readers. I usually do a lot for the top 3. Last year, my top 3 readers, one of them read almost 9,000 minutes. The other 2 read over 10,000 minutes each. And it's like, oh my gosh, you know, that's like several days straight if they were doing it. So, so I got to go get some prizes there. Order some more teacher t-shirts for me. So the one I'm wearing tomorrow or Wednesday, fingers crossed, it says, "Let it snow, I have books to read." And there's a little line of snowmen all holding books. I got one that said 50% librarian, 50% coffee. Thought that was pretty cute. And one that says, "I love my students a latte," and it's got a coffee cup that says library on it. So, because the book fair is the week of leading up to Valentine's Day. So everything's good there. We're starting The Hobbit this week with my 8th graders, because last week we had the snow day and it was just kind of all jumbled up. I did bring stuff home to grade, because I figured if we are having snow days, then I'm so far behind. I've got stuff from December that I haven't graded yet. So yeah. So wow, that was 11 minutes of life update and football rants. Sorry. I will definitely put a jump ahead so that you can jump ahead. All right, so let's get to the Stitchy stuff. I hope you're good. I think I said that, but I hope that you have been warm and stitching and doing all the fun things that are at the beginning of the year, watching the whip parades and getting some great ideas and the new SALs. And it's 2026, so we are in the semi-quincentennial year. I know a lot of people are gearing up with that, getting some patriotic pieces ready or picking them back up, that kind of thing. So, all right, so let's get to what I've been stitching. I actually don't have a ton. It's only been 2 weeks, and being back to school, you know, can't stitch all day as much as I'd like to, but so for 2026, I decided to continue the SAL that I did. I'll start that over. Last year, I did the little something SAL, and it was every week was a different part of the rhyme for weddings, kind of a way to encourage myself to pick up whips and to work on older things and still start new stuff, but also trying to work on holiday pieces outside of the holiday. Because as much as I am a seasonal stitcher, I started so much Halloween and so much Christmas that I never would finish it all if I just did those, September and October and November and December. I'd never get it done. So it worked really well. It was a lot of fun. I have a Facebook group. It's great people in there. Linda from Australia always has cool stuff. Barbara's in there. So we've got a lot of people. Well, there's a good, strong handful. So for this year, I wanted to continue with that idea, but I didn't want to do the same exact routine. I wanted to change it up a little bit. So I came up with Name That Tune SAL. I couldn't find another rhyme that worked really well. And being an English teacher, it would have to rhyme and actually have the right rhythm and everything. But somehow a song tune or a song title popped into my head, and then the other ones just kind of followed. So week 1 is Baby Got BAP. And a BAP is a big ass project or a big awesome project, depending on how you look at it. So for most of the year, I think that's going to, February, that first week, I am absolutely picking up the American sampler from Gerketta Kogo, because I think that is just stunning. She has several pieces that are similar to it. She's got a Christmas one and a fall one and a winter one that are with the same kind of house and just beautiful, beautiful motifs. But I really want that one for the semi-quincentennial. But in January, I was still kind of feeling the Christmas mode, and I had some things that I wanted to keep working on. So for my first week for Baby Got BAP, I continue to work on the red cardinals from Owl Forest Embroidery. They're from the UK. I'm guessing it's UK because it says UK in their website address. I thought that meant United Kingdom, but I guess it's Ukraine, because that is definitely not English down there. But how cool is it that we can order stuff on Etsy from somebody halfway across the world? I think that's just amazing. And I love that about where the stitching community is. You know, when I started, when I was 11, 41 years ago, it was what was in the magazine and what was in Joann's, and that was about it, you know? And the fact that designers from all over the world can share their designs, that we get to enjoy them, and that they get to put them out there, I think is awesome. Now I'm looking at that, I'm like, where is my needle? Where did I hide it? Because I do not use Needleminders. I must have stolen it for something else. Or I'll find it later when I step on it. You know how that is. All right, so this is how much I have done on there. When at the beginning of the week, I just had a portion of the basket. I had a little bit up here. The bird was done, but I now have the birdhouse, and I moved on to the bigger cardinal over here. So, and this is on 32 count affogato. I picked it up at my LNS, the Stitching Corner in Ransomville. I haven't cut it off yet. I don't usually leave it like this, but I wanted to make sure that I was totally good for before I cut it. I have a feeling I probably could just go down to the bottom here and cut it off, because if you look at the picture, there's only this much more that I haven't stitched yet. So I probably can cut it before I pick it back up on it again, because I love this affogato. Oh my gosh, it's just gorgeous. And having that, oh, there's my needle. I try not to be, you know, just buying fabric without having a purpose behind it, because I have to be a little bit more cautious about what I'm spending, although I did order stuff this week. And I enjoy dyeing my own fabric, which is one of the things that I'm going to do. But I find the lighter fabrics are much harder to get. And this affogato is just going to be so much fun for so many pieces. I mean, you could do so many things on it. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to jostle you there. So that was my first week. Baby Got BAP. And, but I was also working on my blessing sampler. And what I decided to do was like cut off a strand for the blessing sampler, like do that, and then go to the BAP. So my blessing sampler, and if you are unsure, a blessing sampler is something, it's kind of an old idea. You start it in January and finish it in January so that your needle is blessed for the whole year. Now, I seriously doubt I'm going to finish this in January, but I saw that somebody else was doing this for their blessing sampler, and I was like, oh, that's a great idea. This is from Teresa Kogut. This is called Hope and Love, and this was a fundraiser for a little boy named Lincoln, who has cancer, and I bought it last year, I think in the summertime, because Teresa was talking about it in one of her videos, and she'd raised like $20,000 to help this family out, which is absolutely wonderful. Now, if you don't have it yet and you're going to get it, make sure you get it from Teresa, because it was pirated and some horrible people were passing it off as their own work and saying it was going to a charity, and not, it wasn't. It was pirated. So make sure that you buy it from Teresa. That's the only place you can get her PDFs is from her. So, and that's teresakogut.com. So make sure you get it from there. But this is how much I have so far. I'm doing my own colors, just what I had already in the house. So this, I'm doing that beautiful cardinal that I picked up at my LNS, because I did my own color conversion for the red cardinals as well. That one, the Owl Forest flosses are very variegated, like super heavily variegated, and not, I think you'd have to order them. I don't know that there's, certainly my LNS didn't have them. So I kind of did my own color conversion there. And there were some things like I bought 2 of this Cardinal just because it was such a gorgeous color. And I forget it's from, I think it's Weeks. So this has been fun. And just, you know, picking up a little bit at a time, I've gotten some good work on it. So I will do that again this week as well. And try, like I said, I doubt I'll have it done for January, but I'm sure my needle will be blessed anyway. All right. So, sorry, I'm like, stuff's falling over. So that was my Cardinal, was my BAP, and my Blessing sampler. And then the second week was Whip It Real Good. That's the song tune, so it was a whip. So I have been working on Welcome Home. It's from Priscilla and Chelsea, Stitching with the Housewives. This is Welcome Home Winter. I already had Autumn done, and I have the other 2. And those were car stitches because I did them on Black Ada, so I could work on them in the car. As you know, especially the spring and summer ones, because then we're disc golfing or we're traveling. I took them with us. And so I just had a little bit left on this one. And I was like, I definitely want to finish it. So I did finish it, and I FFO'd it. So here it is. There you can see the whole thing. So this piece is from Hobby Lobby, and I actually, oops, I forgot I wired it. I put the magnets on it first because while I'm using this for all 4 pieces for the Welcome Homes, there's a Christmas piece that Priscilla and Chelsea did, the Silent Night, that I was like, that would look amazing on this too. And, you know, if I had that out just for December, and then the Welcome Home. So on the back, I just put the magnets on these things. And then, so the blue is for all 4 of them. And I messed up my wire. That's okay. Oh, I'll have to fix that later. I don't want to putz with it. All right, so the blue is for all 4. And then, hold on. There we go. So the blue is for all 4 of them because they use so much blue in the patterns. And I use Tropical Paradise for all of them. No, I'm sorry, really tealy. Some of them she called for Tropical Paradise. And then it's just on I mount on black sticky board when sorry, it's not sticky, it's foam core. Black foam core, because then you can't see the black. You can't see through the holes. And then this was trim that I had. I've used it on a couple other things for winter, but that was actually the end of it. So, but I love it because it looks like snowballs. And then this piece, which was just giving me so much trouble. These are 2 picks I got at Hobby Lobby a couple years ago. And then the Cardinal, I forgot I even had bought it. I opened up a bag. I had like a bag of things I bought last year at the end of the year, I think on clearance. And this is a set of 4 little ornaments. It's stuffed and it's so cute. And I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cute to put a cardinal in there? Kind of give it a little pop of color, but because there's cardinals on all the branches in the piece. And so this is hanging in my dining room. And I'm going to have to futz with that now because it's falling apart. But super. I need like a bloopers thing, right? Oh, goodness. There we go. Stay. All right. There. So, super happy about that. I will leave that up all of January, obviously, all of February, and probably into March because I live in Buffalo. So, I probably won't, I don't know, because the spring one is like tulips and stuff, and we don't have tulips in March. So we'll see, but it'll be up for a while. All right, so then I have a couple other things that I decided I was going to work on because there's so many of them I want to do. And a reader had suggested, I talked about wanting to do all of Pinker and Punkin's salt boxes. Her salt boxes are amazing. And she is so generous because they're all free. And she has new ones all the time. She actually, if you go to pinkerandpumpkinblogspot.com, she has parades of all the softbox houses. I don't know if she has a new one for 2026 yet, but there is one that she did for at the beginning of 2025. So you can see a lot of them there. So this is Winter Manor, and I had started it last year and had very little of it done. But I picked it up. So this is going to be Saltbox Saturdays. And I really only worked on it this past Saturday while I was having my heart broken, because I couldn't find the flosses. And then lo and behold, they were in a bucket next to my nightstand. So I have a good portion of the house done. She does not, I'll have to put a picture in here of what it'll look like finished, because she does not include them, or she didn't. I think she started to include a picture on her instructions, but she didn't always. So this is a picture of what it will look like. And so I have a good portion of the house done. And I have one side, and I had this done and like a little bit of the house before. So I got a fair amount done on Saturday. And I think that is a great way to do it. A little bit every Saturday. The next one I think I'm going to do is, there's a one that has a lot of roses, Heartland or something, for Valentine's Day. So, but that'll probably take me the rest of January to finish up. The other thing that I wanted to do was work on ornaments, because I have so many ornaments that I want to do, that I will never finish all of them in just the time that I put for holidays. So last year during Holy Week, oh, sorry, I just kicked you again. Didn't mean to kick you. Sorry. During Holy Week, I really enjoyed having a Holy Week stitch, and I listened to praise music while I was working on it. And I thought, you know, I should really do a Sabbath stitch in the new year. And then I was thinking about all these awesome ornaments that I want to do. And many of them are like real meaning of Christmas related. So I was like, oh, if I do ornaments on Sunday. Sorry about that. You fell over. Must be because I kicked you. So anyway, so I decided to do ornaments on Sundays. So the first one that I worked on and finished, I had this about half done. This is for a set. I've been working on making a whole bunch of these. And this is also Pinker and Pumpkin for some of my dear friends at school. And I also want to have a set for myself. So I finished up a piece. I have 4 more that I need to do before I make myself an assembly line and catch up on what were supposed to be their Christmas presents for this year. But there's quite a few in the set. So I still need to I have myself a little list of who because I didn't just make like 20 pieces one year, because that would be crazy. I couldn't do that. So I would make like 1 or 2 of each. And then, so there's piece, and I still need to make 1 of those. Love. I need to make, I think, 1 of those. Home. Still have to do 1 of those. Faith. Joy. And hold on, let me see, where's the other? There it is. Cheer. And then there's a couple others that are in the set. She has Hope, that's a candle. I have this one that I made it, but it's going to be part of my set. It's a church. It says holy. Because my intention is to give my friends each a set of 5. Because, you know, you have to have an odd number of things. So if I, you know, do a few of those, I'm hoping to have them. I was going to do them over Christmas vacation, but then Max was home, and I didn't really want to spend a lot of my time in here when I could be spending it with family. So spring break, though, we don't really have any plans that I know of going anywhere or having anybody here. So spring break, if I can have them all ready to go, I can just make a little assembly line and put them all into the pillows, because that's what they're going to be. So I did work on that one weekend. And then this one, I worked on Oh Holy Night from Priscilla and Chelsea. And this is one of the reasons when I was first thinking like, oh, I can do Sabbath Stitch, because this whole set, there's Joy to the World, Oh Holy Night, hold on a second, I'll grab them out of here. There's also the pink set that has, they did a pink set of sideways strippers that are all like religious, like Christmas carol names, not Christmas songs. So there's Joy to the World, which I already have done, Silent Night, Peace on Earth, Noel, and then there was a freebie that came with that says Peace, Joy, Love. And so I'm doing them all on black chalkboard Ada. Sorry, not Ada, linen, which is, it's like I torture myself with it because it's hard to work on for me. I love that new onyx that I just got from my L&S. That stuff is fantastic, and I feel like I can feel it better. And it's funny because I'll work on regular linen no problem, but the black linen gives me problems. So, for example, somewhere in here, I did 1/3 instead of 1/2. So now I have to figure out where the heck I messed that up and how am I off. But I was doing it last night and it was hard to see. So I did a little bit. And I'm actually using for that some sparkly floss for the white. Here's the Joy to the World, so you can see. And I'm using really tealy, like the actual variegated. So it looks pretty cool. It's funny, the Artiste looks very, very blue. It's picking up the blue more than the white in the camera. But I think they'll be very pretty when they're all done. So those are my Sunday stitches for ornaments. And that's what I worked on in 2 weeks. Doesn't seem like a whole heck of a lot, but, you know, have to feed the family and stuff like that. I did take down all of my Christmas decorations. Hold on one second. So I did take down, as I was saying, I took down all my Christmas decorations. I put up all my winter stuff. So everything is white and blue. And it always feels kind of clean to me after everything Christmas. And that took, I think it took like the whole first week I was all of last week. I think I left it up through the first week I was back to school. And school is pretty much switched over to, and now, of course, I've got to think about book fair and decorating for that. But yeah, that's all I worked on in the past 2 weeks. And seeing it through the Winter Reading Challenge starts tomorrow, I have to do a lot of reading in the next couple of weeks as well. So I won't probably be watching as much Flosstube. I'm going to try to find some good audiobooks to listen to in the car to and from school, which is normally when I listen to Flosstubes. So we'll see how much I get done in the next couple of weeks. But I do have some plans. I do have some haul. They're kind of all mixed together. So I did print out, this is actually the December freebie from Primrose Cottage. Welcome Winter. And I think they're doing like a whole set of those cute little welcome pillows. And then they had a sale on, so here's the January freebie. Sweetly saying, and I was like, oh, that's really stinking cute. So I printed that out and you have to be a subscriber to their newsletter in order to get those. Excuse me. And then they had a sale on PDFs, and I was like, so I bought the Valentine's Day alphabet because I've been admiring that I think it was originally in a sip and stitch. And then I don't know when they released it, but I was like, oh, I love that. And the Home Sweet Home, because I love that one too. I just love the little houses, and their color combination is awesome. So I ordered from Fat Quarter Shop because the other thing that I absolutely love, and I think I'll just put a picture in, is the Stitching with the Housewives new one, Love You Latte, that's done on the blue with like the big thing of cups. And I have a Valentine's or a coffee themed classroom. And I really loved that one. So that is only in paper right now. And Fat Quarter Shop was having a sale on all of Stitching with the Housewives patterns. So I ordered the pattern, and then I ordered all the floss that I would need for that. And I ordered the floss that I would need for these 3. But I used the floss that was called for from this, which is slightly different than what they called for in the others. They called for like puddle jumping and water lily, and I just went with this one, which is Eve's Leaves. I think I'm going to use 4 Leaves Clover. Pink Posy, Really Tealy, and Strawberry Parfait. So that's what they used for this. So I've got that. I was like, oh, I hope one skein will go through all 3 of them. But they're not very big. Really. So, and I know I have enough Really Tealy. If I needed to use another skein of it, I can do that. But it's not going to be here until Saturday. This coming week is all new. And I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? Oh, and my other thing was I'm going to dye. I have this nice piece of linen. I'm going to dye that pale pink to do all of those. They did it on blush, which you can barely tell that it's pink. Oh no, this is on white Lugana. Well, they've been doing a lot of stuff on blush. And I have some really great pink that I dyed last year, but it's too pink. So I'm going to give it a shot to like 2 or 3 drops of pink dye to do a very pretty pink. I do have also, I don't know if you can see it. This is the iridescent pink Ada, but I didn't really want to do those on Ada. I thought they were kind of delicate enough that I wanted to do them on linen. Plus, as much as I love this Ada, it looks really pink when it's rolled up. When it's unrolled, it's really hard to tell it's pink. It's so pale. So I'm going to give it a shot to do just my own very pale pink linen. And then I'm going to do this one. So I think this is what I'm going to do when I'm done with the video. I'm going to do with the aquamarine for the Love You Latte, but that's also what Priscilla and Chelsea used for the roundabouts that were snowmen, that were their December set. And I was like, oh, I would love to have snowmen either on this tree or in one of the garlands, because that set of snowmen, I bought them all on Black Friday or New Year's Day or whenever they had their sale, and they're super cute. They've got a lot of cardinals with them too, which gotta love. So so part of my plans is I'm going to dye some fabric today. While this is uploading, probably I'll be dyeing fabric. I'll show you on Instagram how they turned out. But then I was like, oh, what am I going to do? Because this week in the SAL is Make New Friends. And so I was like, I've got all these great new Valentine's Day things I want to start, but it's not going to get here to Saturday. What am I going to do? Well, silly me, because in my Valentine's Day bag, I could work on the Valentine City that I started. I have all 4 of those, and I'm doing them together in one big piece. And I do have Waxing Moon Designs, one of my oldest whips. I do have that. But then I was like, silly goose. I bought a whole bunch of Valentine's Day stuff last year that I never got. Oh, and it's all in a bag. Don't you love my great project bags? Retired Nancy down the road will have project bags that are gorgeous for everything, but not right now. I've had this one for a while, and I've been wanting to do it, so that might be what I start today. And then last year they came out, their Valentine roundabouts were so cute. There's the You're My Cup of Tea with the little chicken. And then there was Hogs and Kisses. So adorable. And Will You Be Mine? That came with a Be Sweet freebie. And then I also have from previous year, Key to My Heart. I think I already did the Love You More because that's when we say that to each other all the time. And that came with a February 14th freebie. And then I have another one. So I'm like, why am I so, because I was like, oh, maybe I can do my dyeing and then I could start with the colors I have until the stuff all gets here on Saturday. It's like, I think I have plenty to work on. So those are part of my plan. So for new, which is this week, I will be starting all sorts of new Valentine's Day stuff. And then the 4th week of the month is the most wonderful time of the year. So you can work on whatever holiday thing you want to, which of course will be all Valentine's Day stuff. And then I was thinking like, silly goose, I have stuff that I need to FFO. So this might actually work. You know, I could start on one of those. I don't know that I could get it to match up perfectly though. This is on linen that I did last year. So this is the Valentine Quaker. And I made my little bird's teal. And that I did actually with like a silk DMC. And I think I used it wrong because it drove me nuts. It was constantly fraying. And then another Primrose that I finally I finished last year and it needs to FFO is the truck. What do they call this? Truck Full of Love or something like that. But this is actually a Katie design. So that's really cute. And I'm going to use, I have this awesome blue rickrack for that. And I'm going to use this spectacular fabric and I'm just going to do a flat fold, not a flat fold, a flat. So this will be on a piece of sticky board and then I'll mount this on that with the blue for trim. So I don't know, maybe if I have more snow days, I'll actually have some stuff. So keep an eye on my Instagram for whatever I'm up to, which is the same as Stitcher with Laughing Face. So you can follow me there as well. All right. So that's it for all the Stitchy stuff. Because I do plan on being back in 2 weeks. So that'll be right at the beginning of February. And you can see everything that I've, all the Valentine's Day stuff. And then I will be kicking off on to the BAP. Back to the America sampler. I've actually seen a couple of people. Somebody just finished it. And I forget if they showed it on Facebook or Instagram. But oh my gosh, when that is done. Oh, it's spectacular. All right, so that's all my Stitchy stuff. I do have some reading to tell you about. So if you're not a book person, see you in 2 weeks. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your kind comments and liking and subscribing. It really means a lot to me to have such wonderful people being part of my Stitchy circle. If you are a reader, hang on for a few minutes because I have a couple books to tell you about. I was still reading a lot of Christmassy stuff in January. So I read the Frost and Flame. It was okay. It was a short novel. It was the idea like kind of like a winter spirit was invited in and became human, and it was all right. It was okay. But this was really good. Miss Winter in the Library with a Knife. So Christmas mystery. 6 people are invited to this mysterious retreat for a murder mystery weekend. £50,000 because it was England. £50,000 prize for the person who could figure it out. But of course, people start dropping dead. And of course, they're cut off from the world by a snowstorm. So really good though, because it has a lot of clues in the story for you to find and a lot of puzzles. So I highly enjoyed that one. And then I also read, this was the first in a series that I've been seeing. Like the series had been popping up in my Kindle like suggestions even around Halloween. I was like, I should probably start with the first one. So Christmas Countdown. And this is about a young lady who her grandmother is not doing very well. She wants to have a wonderful Christmas and bring back a lot of memories from her grandmother's childhood to make her feel better, and kind of ropes the entire town into it. And so the whole town gets into making like an experience, and they rent out the rooms, and it's kind of like a pop-up B&B But it was lovely, and I will read the rest of the ones in that series. And then what I'm reading right now is Heather Graham's A Spiced Cocoa Cafe. It is spicy, so just a warning. Not for any of my kids who are watching. So the funny thing is that I've read so many, like in the fall, I was reading so many like pumpkin spice cafe this, and there's pumpkin about you that. Like I was reading so many of them, I kept getting the town confused because the first one in this was the pumpkin. Hold on. Let me see if I can. Okay, so the first one in this series. Oh, where is it? Where is it? It's from Maple Falls. And the first one was the Cinnamon Spice Inn, which I read in the fall. But I kept getting them confused with a different town. I was like, no, wait, it's this town. But it is enjoyable. So there's a new shop in town. It's a chocolate shop. She has a little hot cocoa bar pop-up inside the chocolate shop. And she's going to take part in a lighting contest. There's a couple different businesses in town. And each one gets like a special week that's like their reveal. And whoever, I think the town people get to vote. And whoever wins gets to give the money to their favorite charity. So she's new in town. She's getting settled, making friends, falling in love with the guy who owns the shop across the street. But there's somebody who's going around and sabotaging the light displays and other big Christmas decorations. So that's I'm about halfway through right now. And I am curious to see like who is up, like, and why would somebody go around and do that when it's all for charity. So other things that are on my radar. I don't think I can make this. So here's my Kindle Unlimited. That's what's the top row is what's in my Kindle right now. Booked for Murder, The Winter Spirits, The Copper Kettle Cafe, which I read the first one. That was the Next Chapter bookshop, I think. And Another Town, where everybody, each book is a different story. The Wild Lavender Bookshop. That one I had my eye on for a while and it was on sale. And then Tusk's Tales and Tea Cakes. In a Thistledown Hollow is on there. Oh, and Karen McInerney. I've read a lot of her. She's got a couple series. And she's got a new one called Misty Hollow. So even though that looks Halloween-y, I was like, I'm getting it. And then The Coffee House Witch and The Grumpy Cat. I mean, how could you not? So I think there's still a ton of Christmas, like, loaded in there. And I do want to read The Winter Frost Market, because that is also the beginning of a series where the other ones are kind of different seasons too. So I want to start with the first one. And then but wintry things, I think I can still get away with just kind of going into winter. But The House of Frost and Feathers, the one over here, that's Baba Yaga house for sure. So that looks like that would be pretty cool too. So, and considering how much I have to read, last year, I think I read 3,500 minutes. I don't know. I have no idea where I will wind up this year. We'll see. But next time I see you, hopefully I'll have a bunch of stories or books to tell you about. I do have a couple I brought home from school too that I wanted to read so I can recommend them to the kids. So I'm going to try to do like one for me, one from school a little bit more during the winter reading challenge this year so I can recommend a lot of good stuff to the kids. So, all right. So that's it for me. I hope that you're well, you're stitching, you've got some good ideas for finishing or books to read or projects to work on from what you saw today. And I would love for you to come and join the Facebook group. I do have a couple questions just to make sure you're actually a stitcher and not a troll. So come and join us, show what you're working on. If you want to do the Name That Tune and SAL with us as well. It's just kind of fun and it's so flexible. I know I am going to do though, the Nap Stitcher. I think that's her name. She does the Olympic one, and I printed out that because I definitely want to do the Winter Olympic stitching. That looks like so much fun. But it's flexible enough that I can fit that into whatever I'm doing with Name That Tune as well. So just kind of a fun way to keep touching, you know, all the whips and keep working on things instead of just adding to the pile. Because I thought I was doing a great job last year, and then I wound up with 4 more whips than I had coming into 25. And so going out of 25, I had more, even though I finished a bunch. I really want to whip it down this year. So hopefully this will help out as I go start like 5 more Valentine's Day things this week. All right. Well, I hope you're warm. I hope you've got a lot of good stuff to plan in your plans too. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye-bye.